Hello, everybody. Go Big with Mika is back after the summer break. I am Mika, your host, and I help women in male dominated industries, especially women in tech, lead with confidence. And today I am super excited. My first guest of the season is Marriot Winquist. She is an amazing coach, an amazing person, and we are going to talk about authentic leadership. Welcome, Marriott.
Hi, Mika. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll tell people a little bit more about you first. You have a background in tech. You have a lot of experience as an executive in tech, and currently you are the CEO of your own company, BrightTree Consulting. You coach, you consult. You have a leadership program, a very specific leadership program we are going to dive into a little more
Mhm.
later. And you primarily work with executives and rising stars, I like that term, in fast growing organizations because you want them to get to a point where they are high impact leaders. I love that. And yeah, so what else should I tell them about you? Maybe I just let you talk a little bit more about how you moved from being a tech executive into coaching tech executives, because everybody's journey is different and it tells a lot about ourselves, right? When we explain that journey. So let's start there.
Yeah. Thanks, Mika. Thanks for the intro. And yes, I do help business leaders really increase their both influence and their impact in their work and lives. And I help them by doing this really in a way that is still true and authentic to
Mhm.
them, so they can actually succeed with confidence and also have joy and peace. I think that authenticity brings that um, joy and peace to them. And my journey is, yes, you have mentioned I spent several years in tech, over 20 years actually. And my background is actually in computing science and engineering. And I pivoted a few times, pivoted to marketing, did product development as well, and became executive leader in organizations. And I think through my journey, what I've really come to realize is really how important it is to pay attention to how you show up at work.
Mhm.
I think there's a lot of skills that we can learn, but really that confidence and leadership calmness really comes from understanding what you are and then how you're showing that to both in life and in your workplace. And yeah, so when I took a little bit of a break from my last corporate role, I really thought back to what brought me the most fulfillment in all the different types of fantastic work that I've done. And I've learned that when I worked one-on-one with people, or really even in small groups, and really see them spark and take that next leap in
Mhm.
their role, or make that new decision, or take that new leap as a leader. Those are really the points in time that I realized, wow, I can really make a difference in these individuals' lives, and I want to do more of that
Mhm.
and to impact more people that way. And so yeah, I looked into that and went into executive leadership training, coaching training as well, and really built a brand new network of people who are really looking for this type of development and looking for this type of growth in their leadership, and really enjoying this work and meeting fantastic people along with it.
Love it. I think that's kind of the most interesting part of getting into the work of coaching and consulting, meeting like such a wide range of amazing people.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So, authentic leadership is our main topic today.
Hmm.
And you've already touched upon why that is so important to you and what it means to you. Um, and my topic, you've mentioned the word confidence too.
Yes.
Um, and how do you define confidence? Where do you see confidence
Mm.
in people? Let's start there, and then how that translates into the authentic leadership.
Yeah. I think that's always an interesting question, right? What is confidence? What does it mean to be confident? For me, I think on the on the most common level is the belief that, hey, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
That very, it sounds simple, but probably sometimes difficult belief that's like, yeah, I can do this. And I think for many of us, or at least I have learned, is that these moments come and go as well.
Yeah.
For different experiences, for different things. Like if it's something that you've done many, many times, then you're like, yep, no problem. I can do this. I can do this with my eyes closed. I'm still excited about it. Yes, I'm confident about it. And then maybe for new things, if I need to suddenly climb a mountain, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't done it. Yes, exactly. Haven't done it. Don't want to hurt myself. Still want to come back. How do I do it? Right. And so I think I've actually come to learn to think about confidence, not so much as a, pure attribute
Mm-hmm.
to myself, but really as a couple of things. One is kind of confidence in things, right? Confidence in your abilities, which means I think it actually, for me, it gives great optimism, because if it's ability, it's things that you can learn. It's things that you can always go, okay, I don't know it today, but tomorrow I'll know a bit more. The next day I'll know a bit more. And through doing an experience, you actually build.
Yes.
Exactly. I can figure it out. You can build and create and gain that confidence. So I think there's that nuance of confidence. I think what's most interesting actually might be the self confidence, because what I have seen and learned from myself as well is I could be very confident in different things, but then there are moments that you still actually doubt yourself. And I feel like that actually is where probably a lot of us falter. And because that actually is more the foundation of where confidence is, not only the things and the work that you do, but how are you feeling about yourself? How are you actually believing in yourself, kind of that I can figure it out belief, no matter what it is. And I feel the self-confidence part is probably the trickiest one for us to manage and to overcome. And for me, I feel like that actually is where the clarity and authenticity helps. The moment you actually understand yourself better, the moment you understand how you go about and what works and what doesn't work for you, that's when you're actually learning, oh yeah, this is how I am. And not that that's an excuse or anything to kind of put out like that, but it's like, oh, I now understand how I work this way. Now I can actually both find either more things that work like that, or create different boundaries to say, you know what, that's not for me, or that is exactly for me, give me more of that. And so I think that self-confidence actually brings something different to the other confidence in kind of doing different things.
Yeah, thank you for that, because that's a super important distinction. And I also like this I say that a lot. Confidence is not a steady state.
It's not. Yeah,
Happiness is not a steady state. I think I'm a pretty happy person, but that doesn't mean that I'm happy 24/7.
Exactly.
And that is something we need to learn to be okay with. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And actually that's a fantastic point, Micha, because it actually is coming to terms that, like you say, I'm a happy person. I'm mostly optimistic. But are there times when I'm like, I don't know if this is going to work? And you kind of have those moments. Of course you do. And I think the most important thing is to recognize that, yes, there will be those moments, and it is okay, and find great ways to work through it so that you come out kind of higher and better on the other end. But to acknowledge that, yeah, it's going to be like this, and hopefully it's going to be like this, but you're kind of keeping moving towards where you'd like to go.
Yeah. So that is a big piece of the authentic leadership you're talking about. Can you tell me and our audience a little more where the need is for that authentic leadership? Because there is kind of a standard type of leadership we see on the media and everything, and in corporate trainings, but why do I need to be an authentic leader?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question. And Probably part of the answer comes from what I've been hearing from quite a few people that I work with, which is they come to me and say, I want to do all these things. I want to push this. I want to influence this, but I don't want to be that person. They say, I don't want to be that guy or gal. Right.
Yeah.
So there's a definite need in terms of, I want to do great things. I want to impact the world. I want to, change things in my work. However, I don't want to have to do X, Y, and Z, like quote unquote, that other person does. And I think sometimes that other person is potentially the more common view of what a leader is. Maybe they are more, they walk into the room, they have some quote unquote presence. They are leading the room. They're steering something. And I think we have to acknowledge that, half our population are introverts versus extroverts. I mean, that in itself brings a different layer of leadership to the table, and just on that on its own, you can recognize that, well, that person is not going to act like the other one. However, there are still leadership qualities that should be valued and are much needed in the workplace, such as listening, such as thoughtfulness, such as kind of taking the sense of the room and understanding what's going on, such as reading behind the, between the lines, right? So there are lots of different things that may not be the regular mode of what a, what a standard leader might look like. But I think the face of leadership is actually slowly changing. And I think that's what we need to see. And I think that's what the workplace need. We're working in a very complex modern world now. It's going, people are working across different teams. You're working across different countries. Things are going global. We're working in different modalities, whether it's virtual or in person, hybrid, whatever it is, all flexible work. Somehow people are getting work done. But you're working with different cultures, different people. So you do need different types of leaders in order to actually garner and harness a lot of the talents of very, very different individuals. And that takes different types of leadership.
So let me name that white elephant in the room. The traditional leadership model we're talking about is a straight white dude who's probably 6 feet or taller,
right?
John or Michael or David, right? I mean,
potentially, yes.
This is not me making this up. There are those studies all over the Western world that your chances of becoming a CEO are higher when you're just 6 foot tall and are called John than just being a woman. Just like, and as half of the world is an introvert, half of the world is not male. So
correct.
Actually, a little more than half. So that's a niche leader still these days. So
yes,
that's why you and I are so excited about the changing face of leadership. And one thing I actually realized that 6 foot tall thing, just because I had a conversation about how height between, I think, 6'6" and 6'4" is like the sweet spot for career advancement.
Really?
Zoom is changing that, right? I have no idea. We've met a lot of times, but of course I never asked you how tall you are. You never asked me how tall I am. We don't know. And I think that changing work environment that many of us have, you mentioned remote, hybrid, all these things that we have experienced, is that leveling the playing field a little for the non-Johns, the non-Michaels among aspiring leaders?
I think yes and no. I think definitely, from the potential boom, I'm a big personality and presence type of way, potentially it is leveling the field a bit. But I do feel like being virtual and remote does bring another dimension of complexity in
Yeah.
terms of communication,
Mhm.
in terms of just even physical spaces,
Mhm.
right? Does everyone have the same access to physical spaces that allow them to have very, quiet and focused workspace?
Yeah, we've seen a lot of pets and children
Exactly,
on
exactly.
our calls in the last 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so I think just with the new mode of work, it just comes with a different layer of complexity, and I think for a leader, the most important thing really is to know that,
Mhm.
right? To be aware of it so that you can actually manage around it. And again, if the whole point really is, if you're having a meeting, the whole point really is to gather the talents of what
Mhm.
all these individuals in the meeting can do, and that really is the whole point of the leader. And so the leader really needs to understand, well, okay, I'm now in a virtual room, and maybe I'm in a hybrid, right? I have some people in the room with me, I have some people here. What do I need to be aware of, and what do I need to do in order to make sure everyone has the right access to communication, is able to speak in the
Mhm.
same turn, and feel comfortable and encouraged to contribute as well. So I think as things are constantly changing, really the one thing that the leader can do that would be most impactful is really just to be aware and to be then intentional about the actions that they take as these things change, because I'm pretty sure this is not the last change that's going to come. I mean, it's been a lot of big changes in the last couple of years,
Right.
but that's not going to be the last wave. And I think organizations are still trying to figure out, well, how do we manage this so
Mhm.
that people are still happy and healthy, and really delivering great quality work.
Right. And then going forward, there's a lot more AI, AR, VR in the mix. However
Right.
that will look, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
What I really like, and I would like to point that out, because we've known each other for a while, and what stands out for me is that your definition of leadership really is empowering the team.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's so beautiful, and that's maybe where the non-typical leaders have an advantage, because people like to be empowered, and people like to take responsibility for whatever they do, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's a great point. I think for me, one of the first things the leaders need to understand is it's no longer about you.
Mhm.
It's no longer about you. However, it's actually all about you in order to bring forth what the influence and changes you can make in a team. So I kind of like a little bit of that dichotomy, because on one hand, really your job is no longer just, hey, I need to produce as much as I can, which as an individual contributor, and really even sometimes as a working manager, that's a lot of what you're doing. You're creating a lot of work.
Right.
However, as you become more of a senior leader and executive and really overseeing larger organizations, it's no longer about you. It really is about, how do I make sure the organization that I am leading is, understanding of the vision, inspired by the vision,
Mhm.
have the support to actually get things done, and are excited about getting that done, right? That really is that role of the leader, to inspire, to enable, and empower the team.
I love that. Before we talk about the specific leaders you work with these days primarily,
Mhm.
there was one thing that stood out in our preparation, because you help people lead not only with clarity and confidence, but also calm.
Mm.
And I think that's a huge topic, especially for women out there, and just like for everybody who juggles all these different responsibilities, working from home. There was homeschooling in the mix for many people for the last couple of years. Fortunately, right now, that's not the case.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of responsibilities. We know statistically, women do most of the unpaid work in most households. And so calm, taking time for yourself, self-care. I have a hard time even putting it out there. But what is your self-care tip? Or what would you do to help people get in that calm space of leadership?
Yeah, that's a that's a great point, especially in such hecticness in our world right now. And I think again, one of the first things really is to recognize that you need it,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of times, I mean, I work with some leaders. They literally are like, I have no time.
Yeah.
I have no time. I'm getting pulled 100 different directions. I gotta do, right? That's all, and that is the sense that many of us get because things are happening to us all the time. So I think the first thing really is to even understand that I need a moment
People,
of
it's
calm.
not optional. Self-care is
Yeah,
not
it's
optional, right?
yeah,
How you define
exactly.
it is different, but the need for it, yeah.
Yeah. So I think the first thing really is to know that actually is a need, because if
Mhm.
you never know that you need it, you're not going to prioritize it. You're not going to make time for it. And the reason you do need it, like you said, is it's because in this crazy hectic life that most of us are leading, um, when you have that opportunity to have that moment of calm, that's when you can get that clarity. That's when you can take that breath.
Mhm.
That's when you can get a bit of that rest, and really it, I know there's talk about, self-care is also part of the work, right? Like you are being productive by
Right.
taking care of yourself, and that's the same concept as calm. You really need to have that moment of calm. And I would say, don't see it as, oh, I need to sit for half an hour to do a meditation. No, it doesn't. It
Right.
doesn't have to be like that. And that's why I keep saying it's a moment, right?
Mhm.
Literally, even taking a deep breath, and I don't mean just a breath. A breath, we're all taking it. If you're hearing and listening to this, we're all taking it. But take that moment, right? Just literally, that's just a moment
Mhm.
of breath,
Yeah.
right? And so even having that time, you'll be amazed at what that will do to how you can think about the problem that you've been looking at for 6 hours. Or or maybe like a high stake conversation that's coming up.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to talk to your team about something. Maybe you have some executive decisions that are tough to make. Come from a place of calmness, because that is where you can get clarity,
Yeah.
even in the midst of complexity. So I that's one of the key things that people can do to actually kind of really start looking in their world in a more grounded
Yeah.
place. And for me, you asked about a tip. For me, I I have been a yoga practitioner for a long time,
Mhm.
and for me, this year I actually started doing daily yoga. I haven't been consistent for like 20 years. We do it kind of from time to time and do it on a weekly basis, but never on a daily sense. And this year I took that on. I'm like, you know what? I think that's something that is really important for me. And I take either anywhere from 5 minutes to 30 minutes. And I give myself that to the point of kind of the small habits. I give myself, even if I do 5 minutes, that for me is great. So my ritual in the morning is anywhere from 5 to 30 minutes. I have from That is my calm for me. Yoga is my calm for me.
Yeah.
And it has made a world of difference to my day, because after that, I actually am more centered. I have the time to actually plan out and say, before I look at my email, to actually say, what are the things that actually are important to do during this day?
Yeah.
And that reset every single day, a bit of reset every day, has made a huge difference in terms of really, even for myself, gaining understanding and clarity on both how I am showing up that day and the actual things that I need to solve during the day. And that for me is what brings confidence as well.
Yeah.
You come from a place of calmness. You know, I know that these are things that I can figure out. Either I can do it or I don't know it yet. I need to figure it out. That's totally fine. So for me, the calmness actually is one of the foundational things that a leader can do, especially in this kind of fast running, fast changing everything world. Like we don't have time to breathe.
Yeah.
We don't have time to breathe. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I love especially about that is how you stress that it can be a very short moment, because I feel especially high achieving women have this tendency. You've seen that with your clients. I've seen it with mine. It's like,
Yes.
like when we talk about health and self-care, it's like, oh, I should go back to yoga class. And I'm like, yeah, so how will that look? Oh, I think I could go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yes.
seriously, you are doing 0 right now. And
Right.
so the plan is that you go from 0 to moving your butt to the studio and doing an hour of yoga 3 times a week.
Yep.
Kudos if you can, but probably not.
Yeah.
Keep it realistic, build small habits. So you do the 5-minute yoga if you don't have a lot of time. I do 5-minute journaling or meditation if I don't have the time for more.
Right.
Like, I'm a huge fan of morning pages, but
Yes.
I'm not doing what Julia Cameron says about the 3 pages and everything. First of all, I'm too OCD. I want the date always on the top right corner, so I do 2 pages. But I went to that place where I'm like, oh, if I don't have time to do the 2 pages, I didn't journal. So I just said, nope. If it's just half a page or 1 page or 1.5, it does not matter.
No.
It's a maximum of 2 pages. If it's less, that's fine. Just what I have time for. And I think I want to encourage, especially the high achieving women who see that, to sometimes half-ass things. It's better than not doing them, right? Half-assing is fine.
I think, like we always say in our household, it's better than 0.
Yep.
Yeah. If you're starting from 0, it's better than 0. If I never take a walk, and I'm now at least taking a walk once a week, it's better than 0. It's not every single day, but it's better than 0. So and it is something that you build up, right? Like if you've done the once a week, okay, maybe now you have time, or now you actually want to do twice or 3 times or more. Yeah, absolutely.
I also want to, just because it's also a conversation I just had a few days ago, that someone told me, oh, but I'm not that type for yoga and those things. And I'm like, first of all, I don't think there's a type, but be curious about something. If you're not curious about yoga, then don't do yoga.
Yeah.
Something else. I have times in my life, I'm very high energy. Sometimes I get into that flow state, that mental calmness more when I do high energy stuff. So I used to box for a while, and that really cleared my head because I was so focused, and it was perfect for that time period. Nowadays, I sometimes do the VR workout games, and that calms me down because then I'm exhausted and I'm in my space. So don't feel forced to do certain things. Like you don't have to. You don't have to sit on your cushion and meditate. Or
I agree, and it is. I love that, Micha, because it is fine. It's a find your calm. Right. Some things calm me, and frankly, like I also love reading, and I could literally read the whole day. But for some other people, they're like, oh my God, I can't stay still for like 10 seconds. Right. So it's be curious. And I totally agree with you in terms of, if certain things don't interest you, don't do it. don't do it. You have to be really interested in things to actually even invest the time. So yeah, find what you're interested in and be curious about trying different things. It's totally okay. You don't have to be, I took an art class a long time ago and I loved it because like for 3 hours, I didn't have to, like it was totally separate from my more analytical work,
Yeah.
and it was beautiful. I loved it, right? So it is finding these little bits of calm and joy that you can insert in your life. But it does take both interest and the need. It's like, hey, I
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
And keep an open mind and be curious, because you never know what you might find that would be interesting for you. And I think that for me is actually the really fun and exciting thing.
Yeah.
And you grow in and out of different things, like you said. Certain times some things might be the most interesting thing for you, and then now you're like, oh, maybe it's something else, and
It's something
that's
different.
also totally fine, and that's part of the fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can microdose self-care, right? That's really the thing.
Absolutely.
Microdosing is very fashionable right now. And you can do that with your breathing exercises. You can do that with a lot of things, but you can also do it with your breathing exercises, with your yoga practice, with your journaling, with your walks. All these things work to calm you or someone else in small doses too.
Yeah.
We don't need to
Yeah.
go to a full hour first. It's like right out.
Exactly. I know. I totally agree with you. I used to be hey, I need to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And if I don't, then I just don't go. Yeah. Then I just don't go because I already failed. It's not
exactly.
worth it.
You don't go Monday, then you don't have to go Wednesday and Friday because you've
right.
already
Yeah.
Okay.
How do we set ourselves up like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So that is definitely setting ourselves up for failure. And
oh my gosh.
we will pivot. We will do a 180 now and talk about who you help set up for success. Because I would like you to tell us a little more about the leaders you or aspiring leaders you work with most right now.
Yeah. So I work with all kinds of different business and corporate leaders. And lately I've actually been working with a lot of women, and also in particular with Asian women as well. And I would have to say, just right off the bat, I always feel like meritocracy is the true thing. Like it's not really about gender or culture or race or different things. And I never really wanted that to be a quote unquote distinction. However, what I've come to realize, and again, this is my own journey of learning kind of that authenticity as well, is that having those differences are actually the strengths and the uniqueness that actually every individual brings. We don't have to be, kind of to your point about the model leader, white male, kind of speaking this way, talking this way, walking this way. We don't all have to be like that. And really the differences that we bring, and for myself as a woman, as an Asian, and immigrating to Canada, coming to US, all these different experiences is actually what helps me be fantastic at my work. And lately, those are actually a lot of the conversations that I've been having with my clients. And kind of growing from that idea, I've been working with a colleague of mine, Denise Ng, who actually is also a founder of the Asian Women Empowerment Network. And we have created a program for Asian women professionals that actually speaks specifically to how we as Asian women bring ourselves to work, to really break through some of those ceilings that we've seen both from others, and also I would say that we've created for ourselves as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a combination of mindset and structure, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Because meritocracy, it looks like there are such objective standards to it. But when you look at the standards, there's often a data bias again that is, I don't know, that makes those supposedly objective standards very hard to reach
For
for
certain individuals.
people, right? The
Absolutely.
accessibility, those standards look objective, but when you really think about it, yeah, if I'm a single mother of two toddlers, certain things are very much harder for me than they are for a single guy or whatever. So
Right.
a lot of these things come into play in addition to the, of course, the value you provide. But and also I
Absolutely.
feel it is sometimes safe space is a word we throw around a lot, but I feel especially learning and growing when we are not in the anxiety mode of being among people who don't look like us.
Mm-hmm.
We just learn better in that safe space among people who share a little more experiences with us. So I think that's a
Absolutely.
fabulous concept, and just like building your peer network.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure you had a first cohort already. You're starting the second one, right?
Yes. Yes, we're starting the second one. We had a first cohort and met fantastic women from that. And I want to go back to what you said about safe space, because that actually was something that we intentionally discussed when we created the program, to really create that safe space, because we know that women who participate will feel, actually, yeah, we you would feel a little bit vulnerable saying that, oh yeah, I I, I want to be a leader, but I don't think I'm seen as one, or I really struggle to speak up because this is a senior person, and I somehow in my culture or in my mind I defer to it, right? And so it was very intentional when we created this program to actually create that safe space, so that the people who participate can have that opportunity to build that community, to recognize that, we got a lot of comments, people saying that, oh, I didn't realize that I thought I was the only one feeling
Mhm.
this, and it was so great. And it
Yeah.
was so great to actually connect and hear from people who are actually experiencing the same thing. And again, these are all fantastic, competent, ambitious women. And so I think for them to see and hear people like that, it really kind of creates that new model. It creates that
Mhm.
new model of success, the new way of, yeah, this can be good too. I don't have to transform into a different person. I actually can, you know, embrace a lot of the strengths and again, the uniqueness that I'm bringing, that actually is very valuable to my work. And so that actually is what we focus on, and creating that safe space. For example, that means we don't record our webinars
Mhm.
that we hold. We have them actually connect with each other personally, offline as well. And so it's really intentional about creating that really safe community, so that people can share and learn from each other.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And for if you are an Asian woman, Asian American professional, the link to the program page is in the comments here, and all the links to reach out to Marriott are in the show notes or whatever, comments, whatever, either they're all there. So please get in touch. I think you're starting the next cohort next week
The
or
next cohort actually starts end of this month. So
okay.
we are taking applications. We're taking and reviewing applications right now. So yeah, please reach out to us and check out the website.
Okay. Yes, please reach out. And just Marriott is also sharing a freebie. Again, that's posted in this event page on LinkedIn
Yes.
here. That is your authentic leadership dashboard. Can you just briefly tell our audience what that is about so that they download?
Yes. Yes. So this is a leadership dashboard that really helps you clarify what your identity is in terms of a leader. What is your mission and vision as a leader? What are your edges? What are your strengths that you can lean on? And also, more importantly, what are the values that you hold true? So we have a value exercise down below as well. And really helping you clarify what success means for you. And we call it a dashboard because it really is a one pager. Because if we want, you could have like a book of how you want to lead. But having that one pager, that's something that you can go back to or have it really visible. And you can go back to this, we would advise every quarter or so, kind of check things out. Are the key relationships still relevant? Are some of the edges or the strengths, are they still, are you still focusing on them? Are the success factors, are they still relevant as well? So it's a really great, really for me, I feel like it's a grounding tool for a lot of leaders that I feel, as Micha mentioned, we all get pulled many different directions. But if you have this one place that you can go to, really just remind yourself, how am I going to do my best today? How do I want to show up today that's going to make me feel fantastic and have really great influence to people around me? That's what you can do with this tool. And I've used it many times and worked with clients on it many times, and it's really a valuable and really impactful tool to help you clarify that.
It definitely is. I've used it before because, as I said, we've known each other for a while. We've done accountability countless times.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Marriott. One thing before we round this up, I would like to know on a personal note, what is the type of advice you would give your 16-year-old self if we have
oh my gosh I love this question because there's so many things I would want to say to my 16-year-old self. I think a few things. One, you're doing wonderfully. I think I'm sure I'm not in the minority here when I say we tend to beat ourselves up, especially when we're teenagers. Everything is wrong. We're never good enough, right? So the first thing I want to say to myself then is you are doing wonderfully and fantastically. And the second really is go for it and enjoy. I tend to be a very worrisome person and used to be and still is, but having more tools to manage them now. But really just go do it and enjoy it. And I think, just that's part of building that confidence. And it's that self-confidence that is really so critical for all of us to bring our best to both work and life.
Thank you, Marriott. So if you want to reach out to Marriott now, there are all the links, but what is your preferred way of getting to know people?
Yeah, I think the most direct way, feel free to reach out to me through LinkedIn. And the LinkedIn, I think link it's down below as well. But LinkedIn, connect with me and direct message me and we can get talking. I'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely. People reach out. And thanks for Katrina mentioned, keep being curious and creating fun. And interesting enough, Helen also had a similar comment. Continue evolution makes life inspirational and fun.
I love it. Yes.
Fun. Let's all have some more fun. I know.
Yes, let's bring more joy into our life every single day.
Yes, we can create fun. We definitely
absolutely.
Thank you, Marriott, for being here today. I think we've all learned a lot from you. And for our audience, the LinkedIn Live, the Go Big with Micha LinkedIn Live will now continue on a weekly basis. If you have something to share on confidence, ping me. I might bring you on, right? And next week we are talking. I'm talking to Nelly. And you have to read up the last name. I'm not going to butcher the last name in the event. We are talking about confidence as a non-technical leader in tech. That will be awesome. A totally different topic. Very interesting. Have a great weekend, everybody. And see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.